Stan and Ollie. Stars Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly as Stan, Laurel and Oliver Hardy. And this film tells the story of a tour that they went on around England, going to different venues and doing comedy shows. They hope that it'll be the thing that revitalizes their career, but it might just turn out to be their farewell tour. Now, I'll start off by saying that I have never seen a Laurel and Hardy film. I think the only time I've ever seen Laurel and Hardy was in an episode of Scooby-Doo years ago. I heard about this film and I saw the trailers for it, and I'll be honest, I really didn't think that much of it. So a good few months ago, whenever I went to see First Man, I went to the cinema and there was a whole bunch of things that went wrong. The film didn't start for about 40 minutes. The emergency exit was sitting open. The lights stayed on. Whenever the film did come on, there was no sound and the lights were still on, and it started like halfway through the film. I had to keep going out and complaining and asking whoever to fix the problem, and finally it did. And when First Man finished and we were all walking out, one of the people that worked there gave us each a free pass for a film of our choice. So I had this thing sitting in my wallet for a few months and I hadn't decided what I was going to use it on. I kind of wanted to use it on a film that I didn't think was going to be very good. So I ended up using it on this. That is how little I thought of this film. So I can say that I was very pleasantly surprised at how much I liked this film and really engaged with the story, which I think is a real testament to the filmmakers. A lot of the time I thought I knew where a story was going to go and how a particular scene was going to turn out, and then I was completely surprised. It went in a completely different direction. The two main actors, Steve Coogan, John C. Reilly, are really good. I can't speak to how accurate they were to the real people, but they put a lot of heart and depth into characters that could have easily ended up being caricatures. I really feel like Steve Coogan is one of those actors who should be in bigger movies. That he has the kind of dramatic range that Steve Carell has, and I could easily see him making the kind of jump that Steve Carell did in his career from comedy to more serious roles. I just think that he's very underrated as a dramatic actor. John C. Reilly's very funny and he's in a lot of comedies, but he has a history of being in like bigger roles in more dramatic films. He's been nominated for an Oscar. He was in Chicago and Boogie Nights and Magnolia, and he shows up in a lot of different kinds of films. The two actresses who play the wives of Laurel and Hardy are fantastic. They are really funny because they're like their kind of own comedy duo, because they have this very biting and cutting back and forth. They're very dry and very insulting, and they're a lot of fun to watch. They're both very no-nonsense, which is very ironic considering the men that they're married to. But they're both no-nonsense in very different ways. And I honestly could have watched the movie just about the two of them. I thought that it was competently directed, it was fine. There were a few shots I didn't really know why they were shot that way. Like at the beginning there's a long tracking shot following the two characters as they walk through the movie studio backlot. And I wasn't really sure what the point of it was. It's impressive, kinda, but I really should have been focusing on what the characters were saying, because it is important dialogue. And I was more thinking about, is this a tracking shot? Have they cut yet? Is that what they're going to do here? How long is this going to go on for? And that's not really where my focus should have been. But the film does really know how to save its close-ups for the more dramatic moments. It gives it a lot of extra impact because it uses the close-ups very sparingly, which I appreciated. There's a great scene where all the noise just drains out of the scene, so it's just the voices of the two actors talking during this very intense scene that work really well as well. It's actually funny too, which is what makes this film work. At the beginning of the film, you see them doing a bit of their routine, and I was really worried because I thought it seemed like one of those things, well, people were simpler back then, their comedy tastes were simpler, because what I'm seeing is not at all funny, but the people on the screen are laughing, and I thought it was going to be like that they would go into these different comedy places or these venues and they would do their routine and people wouldn't laugh, and it would be really awkward and unpleasant to watch. But once it gets going and they're actually doing their shows and their slapstick, it's actually funny, and I was laughing at it. It's just genuinely funny. The film touches on the themes of the fleeting nature of fame and friendship when it mixes with business, and how it causes people to question if the friendship is just for business or if it was ever actually real in the first place. The two characters are really well written and acted out, but it really shows in the writing because we can clearly see what the characters' flaws and issues are before they eventually come to a head. So that when the two characters are arguing and throwing insults back and forth at each other, they're saying things that I was already thinking about the characters that were kind of starting to annoy me. And whenever they say it, it's very satisfying to watch that it's not just you, it's not just the performance is like annoying in some way. It's no, this is the point. It's like Oliver Hardy really needs to be liked, and he doesn't like to really annoy people or rock the boat. And Stan Laurel isn't really able to turn off the comedy, even in his like in normal life. He's kind of uses comedy as a defense mechanism. This is another film that shows that when you're doing a biopic, I think that the best way to do it is just pick an event or a series of events at a point in a person's life or people's lives and just tell that story instead of going from birth to death and trying to squeeze everything into a 2 hour, 2.5 hour film. Just pick a specific time in the person's life and focus on that. You can have a few flashbacks to put things into context, but stay away from trying to fit their whole life or career into a single film. It works much better and allows the story to fit into a tighter, more satisfying story arc. It's also quite a short film. It's only like 90 minutes long, or maybe just a bit over that, but it's kind of perfect. It doesn't feel too short, it doesn't feel too long, it feels just about right. It said everything it needed to say, and it told the story, and it didn't need any more time. It was nice. I usually like films to be a wee bit longer, and it being a short film was one of the things that was maybe putting me off it a little bit, but it was perfect. I give the film a B+, and I'm actually really happy that I know more about Laurel and Hardy now, and I could actually easily see myself maybe watching one of their films if the comedy in those is anything like the comedy in this, which is actually genuinely funny. So please leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've seen Stan and Ollie and what you thought of it. If you agree with any of my points, if you disagree with any of them. Also, tell me what your favourite comedy duo is. Is it Laurel and Hardy? Is it Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly? Is it Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, or Abbott and Costello? Please let me know. Please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out a great deal. And I'll be back soon with more reviews, and I'll see you then.